Jeff, I got to kill the music.
Okay, kill the music.
Before the show started, we have 2 stars from wrestlers on Netflix, television stars. We got Freya the Slaya, and we got Aaron Gritter, who did not pay his electricity bill.
Gritter.
But Jeff.
Well, he already fits in because you butchered his name. So
okay, Jeff, listen to me. I put them in the green room for a reason. Because I did not want to embarrass Al in front of his students. Because we know how the students are with Al. We had Shera on last week. Yes, sir. I love you, Al. I love you, Al. We know the students love Al. So I did not want to embarrass him in any way. Al, you know I love you. Did I not text you this week that I loved you?
Oh yeah, I love you too, man.
Yeah, bro. I don't want to get into it because next week, Jeff. But I am not BSing you. You could ex my wife, bro. I was crying.
I believe that.
End of the last episode.
I believe that.
Crying. My wife is looking at me like, "What the frig is wrong with you?" But I don't want to get into that this week. We're gonna get into that next week.
Yeah, we'll get into that next week.
We have seen. Al, would you agree? Especially like, I'm kind of putting this up there with like 9/11. We've seen a lot of horrifying things in our life. Al, we see horrifying things every Thursday on our show, correct?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. We've seen some horrible things.
Wait till you see some of it coming this Thursday.
Okay. All right. We've seen some horrible things, man. We've seen the Twin Towers come down.
Yeah.
We've seen the Jason and the Freddy and the Mike Myers horror films. We've seen some horrific things, Jeff.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that last example is real, but
yeah. Well, either way, but you know how I don't miss anything on these shows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't miss a thing.
Okay.
And I know the entire viewing audience missed this, but me.
Okay. What was it?
Jeff, there is a scene in the 6th episode.
What did you discern there?
Where Mrs. Snow is giving a Rocky Jr. a rub down, and we're gonna get into the whole Rocky thing later.
That's a hell of a montage, wasn't it?
But she's giving Rocky the old rub down.
Yeah,
bro.
She's a licensed masseuse.
Bro, there is a shot of one of Al's big toes.
Yeah.
I don't know what is going on, Al, with that nail.
I'll tell you right now. Let you know, you're no different. Your feet look just like mine. You could swoop down out of the air and pick up your lunch in the street. You know that.
Al,
that's why we don't wear sandals anymore.
There is something going on with the nail on Al's big toe, bro. That I never seen anything like this in my life.
It got ruined when I broke my toe one night in the ring. I moonsaulted. I drove my toe on the mat. It literally shattered my toe, and it broke the nail, and it's never been right since.
Can you not wrap that thing? Put something, dress that thing, do something with that thing, Al. Seriously.
Oh, look, like you don't have a foot full of copperheads coming off of you.
Oh, my God. All right. Listen, everybody, this is how the show is going to work before I bring on our 2 guests. You guys know because our good friend No DQ is already starting, bro, with a $2 donation. Stephanie Smirk or Al Smirk. Who you got? That's a great question, No DQ. Great question. But if you guys want to be
a little more evil and a little more scary.
Yeah. I'd have to go. I definitely have to go with that. But guys, this is what you do. You want to ask any questions to Al or our guest, Freya or Mr. Gritter.
Freya.
You want to ask them any.
Butchered.
I see listen,
both at the same time. A double butcher right there.
It is Gridder. Gridder.
No, clearly Grider and clearly Freya.
Okay,
the only
listen. If you guys want to ask Miss Freya or Mr. Gritter any questions, bro, you send in a donation, you send in a super sticker, you become part of the conversation. So now I'm going to bring them in, bro. The 2 stars, bro. 2 stars of Netflix wrestlers. Freya the Slaya. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, Mr. Aaron Gritter, Aaron, what is going on there, my friend Aaron? What is happening?
It'll be real good if you can pronounce my last name correctly. It is Grider.
Easy, Mr. Grider. Easy. Now, I gotta ask the both of you this question, Freya and Aaron. I gotta ask you this question, bro. You go down there to OVW in good old Louisville, Kentucky, Louisville, whatever you want to call it. Did something just go out on you, Freya? Something go out?
Yeah, my light went off, but it's okay.
See, that's because of Aaron didn't.
I guess so.
Now, you guys go down there for training. Mr. Gritter, you want to be a referee. Freya wants to be a professional wrestler. In your wildest dreams, did you ever think that you were going to be on a wildly popular television weekly show on Netflix? Like, did this ever cross your mind? And wait, when you were starting to hear about this show, were you guys like, yeah, that's never gonna happen? I mean, I would have to assume you never in a million years thought going to OVW you would wind up television stars.
I definitely didn't think it would happen in that way. Being from Alaska, reality shows are actually really common. So I had been part of like cell tapes for multiple reality shows while I was in Alaska. And so I always thought if I was ever going to be in one, it would be one of those because they film a lot of them in the city that I'm from. But then, go figure, came to OVW, was the last thing on my mind, being on a reality show, and here we are.
Now, how was it? And then I'm going to go to you, Aaron. But Freya, how was it like when word started getting around the locker room? Like, did people really believe it? Were people doubting it? What was it like in the locker room?
I mean, you have to know wrestlers. We get promised a lot of things by a lot of people. And so I think a lot of us were pretty skeptical until all the camera crews all showed up, until they were there filming us all day with, camera crews of over 40 people. Once that all rolled in, it was like, oh no, this is real. But the funny thing about wrestlers is even after we had filmed the whole show and they spent all that time and money filming us, until the show actually came out on Netflix, there were still people skeptical it was going to happen.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. Now, Aaron, what about you, man? You're down there, you're refereeing, minding your own business. Now there's a lot of scuttlebutt about a big TV show happening. How did you feel about this first when you first heard about it? And then when you're sitting there in your living room watching yourself on TV, how did you feel about this?
So the first time I heard about it, I was like, oh, that's nice. That's never going to happen.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because like Freya said, you get people say things all the time. People in the locker room like, oh, this is going to happen. That's going to happen. Okay, great. Yeah, that's awesome. Wonderful. But until it actually happens, you're like, nah, that's never going to be a thing. And it's weird because when it actually happens, and then I turn on Netflix and I see myself, and then I have people from high school who I haven't talked to in 15, 20 years, and they message me and they're like, hey, man, we just want to say we are so proud of you. We just saw you on Netflix. And I'm like, holy crap, this is actually a thing now. And then people would tell me, hey, we watched Wrestlers. You were great. We love the stuff with you and Freya. It was pretty surreal. Like, I've been a wrestling fan my whole life. So to be able to see that happen and see all the people who have worked really hard to make it happen was pretty surreal and pretty crazy.
Yeah. Now, Al, I got to ask you this because this was, this was my biggest joy out of this show. Yeah. I find the little things, man, because it's just like when you've been there, it's just the little things. Al, when you're producing Aaron and Freya in these vignettes,
Yeah.
Bro, you are loving this. Like,
yeah.
you were so into the story, and there was such a smile on your face, and I got the biggest kick out of that. Why were you so into this, bro?
Because it's a great story, and it's entertaining, and it's relatable, and we were laughing so hard through most of that whole night. I mean, those are the times where I go, wow, I actually get, paid to do this. It's so much fun. Even when we were out in the field and we were doing that cinematic match with Amon and the Fallen and Crixus and Luscious Lawrence, those things are a blast for me. They're a lot of work for me. I mean, a lot, but to see them happen and then watch the talent themselves get an experience that otherwise they may not ever have gotten a chance to do, it just makes me so happy. It makes me, it's fun. It just really is fun. I could sit there for hours, and we try to do them as quick as we can because I try to be cognizant of the talent's time, and then also, we end up using a lot of relationships like that restaurant, and I don't want to keep people there forever. But boy, I could sit there and do that all night. It's a blast. And then when you watch it play out, once you've produced it, and then on the show you sit and watch them, play out throughout the show, and it's nothing's better. It's so awesome.
I gotta ask both you, both Aaron and Freya, a question. Now you got to understand, with what Al is doing with you. I mean, man, I produced 1,000 vignettes like that, and this is one thing I could never understand, and I could never understand this because for a little while I was a talent myself. Okay, to me, like my direction with everybody would always be in the moment. Know your character, know what's going on, and then it'll be very natural. You will know how to act and react. Guys, I'm not lying to you. Like every Monday night when I'm watching Raw, I am watching some of the absolute worst performers in the world. And we can come up with a million excuses. They're given a script. They got to stick to the script. But it's not, a lot of it is not believable. Now, I know you two guys are not paid professional actors, but in these vignettes, you both seemed very believable. It seemed very realistic. I bought it. You seemed very comfortable. You were both in the moment. Freya, starting with you, I'm assuming you never took any acting lessons, correct?
No, never. I did some acting. Well, that's actually not true. I have a communications degree, and so I actually did take some performance arts classes while I was in college, getting my undergrad. So I guess I did do a little bit of that.
This seemed to come so natural to you, and for a lot of the talent, it's so difficult for them to be in the moment, and I never got that. Why was that so easy for you?
I don't know. I think the way Al gave us direction, it was honestly just kind of be yourself. And especially the funniest part was a lot of the scenes with Aaron, we would be talking while they were setting up the camera or something. For example, we filmed this really big bowling alley date. And Aaron goes on this long, description of what's in his bowling bag and the multiple balls and how you need different bowling balls for the wax and the conditions. And me and Al are just looking at each other like, what? And then Al's like, that whole thing you just said, say that on camera. And so I honestly just felt like I was just working around that, okay, Aaron's just being himself, and that's cracking Al up to the point where sometimes he had to walk away while we were filming because you can hear him giggling in the background. Yeah. And so we just kind of went with it.
Yeah. What about you, Aaron? I mean, again, the performance was hysterical. It looked like you guys were having the time of your life. It looked like you were very, very, very comfortable. How did you just get into that role?
Because it's not a role for me. That's how I am. Freya has said it. I've heard her say it before. That's just me. I am just an absolute goof. And
Aaron, if I were you, I would totally say, listen, yeah, I was 100% playing the character. I want everybody to know that out there. That is nothing like what I'm like. That's what I would recommend to you, Aaron. I'm trying to help you here, bro.
Okay. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. The tequila spot during the scene where I spit out the tequila is a 100% realistic reaction. That is because that is jalapeno tequila.
Ugh.
No,
Al-
ghost pepper.
Ghost
tequila.
pepper. And Al tried it and tried to sell it to me. And I told him, I was like, this is one shot. I don't care what the reaction is.
I don't
This
blame you.
this is one take.
Right.
We're one and done. And what you see in the scene, that is a legit reaction. That's just how I reacted.
Yeah.
I took a drink of it to try to not sell it, no big deal.
Yeah.
And I started breaking out in a sweat.
Oh yeah, I could imagine, bro. Yeah. Now, Freya, let me ask you this. I get the impression watching the show that did you pitch this to Al?
I pitched a version of it.
Yeah, because obviously you took somebody else instead of Aaron because do you really want to work with him? Obviously,
I actually didn't even have a person in mind.
Oh, okay.
I just had an idea for me with some other male on the roster, not even necessarily a wrestler. And so then Al put it together, and then we were honestly along for the ride where we didn't know where it was going. And so half the fun even for us was, all right, where's this going next week? Because it just took so many twists and turns. And so it was really cool to see what evolved from my initial pretty basic idea to where it concluded.
Now, Al, I would have to assume, because I ran into this all the time, Al, you were having a blast, which I enjoyed more than anything. But Al, I have to, I went through this a lot too. Man, when you are producing and coming up with angles and vignettes and character development that way, it's got to be a lot more fun when you're working with fun people. Let's be honest. We work with some miserable people, but when you really enjoy the people you're working with, I really think that's when it's most fun.
Oh, absolutely. And that really, I've done a lot of that kind of stuff in OVW where we've done a lot of, on location, vignettes and things like that. And they're always so much fun, because I enjoy being around the talent, and I think they enjoy doing it. I think it gives them an outlet in a way, to develop their characters that they otherwise, let's face it, even WWE doesn't really do those types of vignettes anymore. And, and they certainly rarely, if ever, do a cinematic match, and I don't do them, just to say that we do them. I really do them because I think that they make the show more entertaining. I think that it helps an audience really understand the characters that are involved, and then helps build that heat to see the conflict resolved in the ring at some point, and that's what keeps people tuning in and keeps them. And it also keeps them always guessing because then they know that if they miss next week, they're probably going to miss something really cool that they didn't expect to see,
Yeah. I want to remind everybody watching, man, if you want to ask a question, get in on the conversation. You do that through a super sticker or a donation, whatever you want to discuss. It could be other episodes, anything you want to ask Al, please feel free. Jeff, do you have a question for our wonderful guest this evening?
Yeah, I would be what you consider a stereotypical casual wrestling fan. Throughout my life, I'll watch it if I think it's good. If I think it's bad, I'm not going to sit there and watch it just because it's wrestling. And what's always drawn me to good wrestling, why I want to see a match, is because I care about who's in the match and I care who wins or loses. I can't just sit down and watch a cold match, not know wrestler A or wrestler B, and just enjoy the moves. That's not the type of fan that I am. So when I see you guys doing this stuff, that's what's always drew me to wrestling. And Freya, you said on the show about it relating to people and people can relate to this stuff. Do you look at wrestling the same way? Because seeing you and you saying you pitched that idea, it seems like, we talk about this a lot where everybody can go in the ring and do moves, but what makes you different? What makes you unique? What makes the audience care about you? This type of stuff for people like me, that's what it is for, casual wrestling fans that don't, some of them don't watch anymore. So when you're coming up with that idea, is that the whole point, Freya? When I get in that ring, they're going to know who I am and they're going to care whether I win or lose?
Definitely, because to steal something that Al tells us all the time, when we go out there, most fans don't know what a body slam feels like, right? They can watch how we react and kind of like get a feel, maybe guess what it feels like, but they know what it feels like being in a crappy relationship or being manipulated or having someone lead you on. All of those real human things, I feel like people can connect to so much better. And then you take that through this, through the story of wrestling, and then you've really got a show. And I think one of the great things about this, and Aaron probably doesn't even know this, but because he is just being himself when he's out there, Al would normally pull me aside before we filmed and he'd say, all right, to make this really believable, I need you to make Aaron as humanly awkward as possible. And so he would always give me side direction. All right, for this, Aaron needs to actually be uncomfortable. And so we would be planning to sit next to each other. And then as we're filming, I would half sit on his lap or something, or start unbuttoning his shirt and rubbing lime juice and salt on it or something, all sorts of weird stuff like that. That was all right, let's get this genuine, really awkward reaction. And so then people, you know what I mean? They can connect to that.
Aaron, we got a question from Mr. No DQ. What referees inspired you? And do not say Rudy Charles. Anybody else but Rudy Charles? Who inspired you?
I would say probably Tommy Young, and Tommy Young and Earl Hebner are probably the two that I grew up watching and that I followed, and really whenever I'm in the ring and there's a big pin or a big falsie or things, I try to kind of model that after what Tommy Young would do with the big over the shoulder, over the arm, the big count. I always love that count. So him and Earl probably are the two that really, really inspired me.
Now I gotta ask you, again, listen, I'm here in Colorado. I'm not in Louisville, Mr. Gritter. So I gotta ask you a question.
Colorado.
Because I'm very taken by your background. Now, is it a Louisville thing to use tablecloths as curtains? You're using a tablecloth as a curtain. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Is that a Louisville thing?
I don't know, but I live in an older house.
Interesting.
So there's a lot of the old wood paneling and things like that. So it's very old, an old school feel to it. I did not pick that curtain, so that was here when I moved in. I was wondering when that was going to come up.
Yeah, very interesting that you got a tablecloth hanging up from a curtain. Anyway, Al, we got a question from Crushers Movies and Games.
Wait! Now you're an interior decorator.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
Al Snow, have you stayed in contact with Maven?
Yeah, I have stayed in contact with Maven, and we talk occasionally. And really proud of him. He's doing his own YouTube show, and doing really well with that. And I think he just recently hit 100,000 followers on YouTube. So he's a great kid. He's one of mine, and always will be.
I want to bring up something from the beginning of the show. I got notes here, Al. I took notes during the show. All right, I took notes.
You did not.
I did too. I'm watching the opening of this show.
Yeah.
Why has this Gracie character not been barred from the arena?
What are you barred from the arena?
She's causing all kinds of trouble, calling the wrestlers' names, starting all kinds of hoopla, in the arena. Why has this kid not been thrown out of the arena?
What are you, the Grinch?
Yeah. Very disrespectful to the wrestlers.
Like throwing Cindy Lou Who out of the arena. You think maybe when the show's done, your heart will go 3 sizes today?
All right, listen. Nice podcast, stupid. Hey, Al, big fan. Oh, this is an interesting question. Ooh. Let's see how loyal Al is. If Tony Khan called you today and asked you how to fix AEW, what would you tell him? Also, what do you think of LA Knight?
What would I tell Tony Khan? I would say the same thing that we have talked about on the show on Thursday, and that is that it needs defined leadership. It needs, if it's not going to be him, he needs someone to be the heater. He needs a John Laurinaitis. He needs someone to be the heel, so that if he wants to be the babyface, that's fine. But then you need somebody to be the heel and have somebody that can make the talent adhere to whatever his vision and direction for the company is, and they've got to rein that in. There should be some kind of standards and discipline, and direction for the talent. And the other part of the question was, what was
the other part was, what do you think of LA Knight?
Oh, I've said this before. I think he's incredibly talented. Quite a while ago, when he first got to NXT, I thought he had all of the tools to really be a true star. And it's not surprising that he's finally starting to break out.
Yeah. Now, before we get to the next question, I got a other question for Mr. Grinder. Mr. Aaron, I got to ask you something. Aaron, I got to ask you something.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a particular name for that hairstyle, or do you just comb your hair with a hand grenade in the morning? Which is it, bro? Please share your fashion tips with us, please, Mr. Gritter. What is that hairstyle? If I go to the barbershop tomorrow and I don't have a picture of you, but is there a name that I can give him so he knows I want that look?
Yeah, the Lilo and Stitch cut. That's what it's called.
What was that?
This is the I worked 10 hours at the Bureau of Motor Vehicles today haircut.
All right, very nice. Okay. Now I got some direction. Thank you very much, my friend.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Always willing to help.
Okay. Hey, it's me.
All you have to do is tell your coiffeur that you wish to have the hairstyle that looks like you are perpetually going through a divorce, and it's really been hard on you.
Very nice.
Al, I don't know why you're hating on it. Your mom loves this haircut.
Oh my God. Very nice. Very nice. All right, listen, Al from Hey, It's Me, Scott. Al, being that you always try to protect the business, what was the hardest thing about letting the cameras inside OVW? Were there ever moments of hesitancy or skepticism on your part?
Yes, absolutely. To be honest, it was, but I trusted Greg, and I trusted Greg's vision to pull the curtain back sufficiently, but not so far back that, like the Wizard of Oz, you pulled the curtain so far back and you just saw the little old man sitting there twisting the dials. There was a lot of stuff that Greg could have shown, even more backstage stuff, as far as, my directing the talent, explaining things, going into more detail and depth. But he left that out so that the audience could then, look forward to what was going to transpire when you got those clips of the talent in the ring doing their thing, and that kept a lot of the magic in the whole deal, and I really, really appreciate that. But, to Freya and to Aaron and everyone else's credit, we all kind of didn't openly say it, but we all agreed that we're going to commit. We're all going to just be as open as we possibly can be. And I think it turned out marvelous.
Yeah. Okay. No DQ. Freya, this one is for you. Your wrestling inspiration.
Oh, I think the wrestlers that really got me inspired and people that I definitely tried to emulate early on, Bull Nakano, Awesome Kong, Akira Taue, Aja Kong. I actually always really loved Goldust, Kane. I think those are some of the top people that inspired me.
Yeah. Aaron, who were some of your favorites, man, as you grew up a wrestling fan?
I always was a Terry Funk fan. I always was a Randy Savage, and also Barry Windham, Arn Anderson, Mr. Perfect. and Ted DiBiase were all kind of people that I really kind of liked growing up. And then as I got a little older, was a big fan of Shawn Michaels in the mid 90s.
Yeah, very cool. Jeff, I got another question for our panel here.
Yeah, Aaron. So we've heard, Freya comes up with this idea for her character. Al explains on the show what he wants to do with it, where he wants to go with it. And we talk a lot on our podcast about, you can't look good by yourself in pro wrestling. So here you are put into this. Do you put pressure on yourself? Because this is it came out great, but what if it didn't? You could be screwing up Freya, where she's going, right? I mean, that a lot of people think that way. So do you put pressure on yourself?
Oh, I put all the pressure on myself. I am more critical of myself than anybody else could be of me. Because this was about Freya. Like, this really it was about showing a different side of her, opening up people to her character, her personality. I was there to just be the foil, and yes, we were able to collaborate. We were able to work collaboratively. It was really fun because Al would tell us kind of what he wanted, and then Freya and I would kind of get to talking, and we would come up with ideas of, okay, we could also do this, like when we did the wedding engagement photos, stuff like that. I mean, that stuff was fun. And the fun part about it is, when you watch wrestlers, this is the genesis of how everything started, but this storyline continued for a year. So, this whole thing went on for a year. And I remember, I'll never forget it, because after we filmed this, we're in the bar and we're talking about what we might do after this angle. And I jokingly said to Al, well, we could always do a wrestling wedding. And there's a pause. And as soon as there's a pause, I know I'm screwed. I know I have just talked myself into this angle. And sure enough, it takes a year, but we finally get to the wedding, which was something I think we all could be proud of.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a hell of a ride, man. And for somebody like me, who's, like I said, grown up a wrestling fan, I'm not a wrestler. I never wanted to be a wrestler. I wanted to be involved in the business, but I didn't get in the business till I was 35. So I've been a ref for 5 years. And then this, never in my wildest dreams, never could you have told me, hey, you're going to be in a storyline. It's going to go a year. You're going to get in a wrestling wedding, and you're going to get chokeslammed through a wedding cake at the Davis Arena on OVW television with, by the way, your mom at ringside.
Yeah, Al loves that. Yeah, you can't say nothing. You can't. Al, I could remember all those spots. I can remember when I overheard Jay Lethal do Savage. Mm-hmm. And you can't say nothing in the back. But Aaron, I got to ask you something. I got to do my due diligence as a professional podcast. I got to ask you one question. Please don't take this personally.
Okay.
Are you holding anybody hostage in that basement or against their will or anything? Like, seriously, because now's the time to say it. Is anybody in there against their own will or
no? Not? No. This should not shock you, Vince. But I live alone. This should not shock. I live alone. I work at the BMV. I live alone, Vince.
Al, I just came up with a great idea.
Oh,
now, Al, you don't live alone because we have the lovely Mrs. Sarvin putting up with your feet and everything else. But I do know for a fact.
Listen, you look like your feet look like you can climb trees.
Easy. Al, I do know for a fact when EC3 is in town, he stays at your house.
Yes.
Why isn't he staying with Mr. Gritter if he lives alone? Why doesn't EC3 stay at his house?
Well, we don't want EC3 ended up in a freezer.
All right, listen. Anybody else? You guys got any questions? Great questions so far. Al, I gotta bring up something serious that really bothered me.
Why?
Because I didn't think this was necessary.
What?
I do want to say, Al, I'm going to let everybody know right now. Mr. Matt Jones is confirmed for next week.
Okay.
I did not like this part.
What part?
When we're getting into the finances and everything else, we lost 180 grand, this, that, and the other thing. Then Matt Jones pauses and says, "Well, yeah, we got a lot of overhead here, blah 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 blah." And most of it is Al Snow.
No, he said Al. The biggest expense is Al.
The biggest expense is Al Snow. Like
He likes to make those sideways comments. Yes.
Yeah, I don't like that. I didn't like. Why did he have to say that?
I didn't particularly like it either. You know,
I mean, why?
If the cameras had not been there, I would have probably confronted him and said something. But I don't. I like to keep things private. So,
but he didn't keep it private.
Of course not. No.
Well, he's gonna be on this show next week, and I'm gonna ask him that question.
You should.
I'm also gonna tell him about the footage, the film of you eating the chips in the background, because I know he doesn't know about that. We're gonna talk about that.
Stop.
Okay, here we go. The absolute highlight of the show. You guys were great on the show, Aaron. You know I'm busting your onions. You were great on the show. Freya, you guys were great on the show. However, now we get into the Rocky Jr. montage.
What are you talking about?
Come on, Al. We got the Rocky montage.
That's how I work out all the time. That is legitimately how I work. I train. I train in my garage. I go out in my garage and I work out, whether it's hot or cold. Or
while you're working out, do you put a camera on the floor and set yourself up so you can look at it later on in the evening with Mrs. Savin?
I didn't, and it's Sarvin, and quit mispronouncing.
Do you keep cameras in there looking up so we can see them?
No, that was Greg wanted to do that. Okay. I didn't. I was not very excited about doing it, and he had me out there in that garage for 4 hours, just doing stuff over and over again. It was the longest day of my life.
Now I'm going to ask you this question now.
Yeah, but Aaron's mom likes it, so
very nice. I'm going to ask you this question now.
Yeah, you know why I don't like to have sex on the beach? Because I get a tan line of Aaron's mom.
All right,
Jeff, is that funny?
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
Yes.
All right, now, okay. See, now you made me forget what I was going to ask.
The whole time we were filming these vignettes, they were trying to outdo each other with mom jokes.
Yeah.
Every single time.
There's a segment where I wish would have aired. There was they literally were in Al's office, and it was me and Al and a few others, and it was literally like nonstop, 20 minutes back and forth of us.
Kind of like what I do with Aaron. Kind of like what I do with Aaron's mom, nonstop, back and forth.
Well, except at Al's house, there's usually a line to see his mom. You know, there's usually like a line wrapping around the house.
Aaron's mom's still practicing. That is.
Al, you never
hold
get the
on.
applause.
Let's talk about and don't BS me here, bro.
Okay.
Right. So now, let me ask you this question. I didn't understand. I got to question your booking a little bit.
What?
Yeah, this I didn't understand. You had the injuries. We didn't know about Haley. You knew Shera was out. Right. Why didn't you have out? I didn't understand. Why didn't you have James Storm defend the title against somebody else on the roster for the show?
He wasn't available.
Oh, okay. All right. Because I didn't understand that.
Yeah, and it's usually when it rains, you know how it is. Usually when it rains, it pours. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know, like just this past Saturday, I didn't have EC3, I didn't have Haley, I didn't have Tiffany, I had multiple people that I didn't have access to on the night of our pay-per-view, but everybody pulled together and did an awesome job, and you nobody missed them at all. I mean, you wouldn't even have known they weren't there. So,
all right, now I got to ask you this question.
Okay.
So Matt Jones is really, really pushing to get Al on this show.
Yeah.
All right. He's throwing everything at Al.
And that was a shoot. I did not want to do it because my job, as far as I'm concerned, is to tell them, to sell Freya, to sell Aaron, to sell, Jesse Goddard's, to sell Cash, to sell Haley. It's not, and as well as I do that if you are a talent in front of the camera, and you have power. You know, your responsibility is to sell yourself. Number one, period. That's good. You know, if I'm going to go and I'm going to do it, guess what? I'm going to get over it. I'm going to do everything I can to get more over than everybody else. And that's not really what OVW is for. It's not for me. It is for all of them. And that was why I was very reluctant, because besides that, the fact that would come that day, it's going to be about me, you know, period, because that's what the deal is. But I've now got to split my attention for the rest of the show, plus worry about making sure that I go out there and I do the right business that needs to be done the right way, you know. And I was very reticent to do it, very reluctant to do it. And then they just kept badgering me, quite honestly, until I finally went, you know what? Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, which is where I'm going with this. Jeff, okay. Al's on the fence. Al's reluctant.
Al was not on the fence. Al did not
want to do this. We're getting a lot of this, all this. And
he's like, I wish I had my bag of chips.
Bro, and more. And listen, listen. I hate to do this in front of Freya the Slaya and Aaron because they don't know this side of Al. They don't know this side of Al because while Matt is now totally exposing himself of being a super Al Snow mark, and it gets worse next week. Okay, bro. Well, now Al has Matt at his mercy.
I do not.
So Jeff, now Al's sitting there, and you know what I'm seeing over Al's face, bro?
What?
The big dollar sign. Because that's
you know
all that. Come on,
you know
Al.
what, Al,
That's
you know
all
what Al
that's
got?
going through your head. That is all that's going through your head, bro.
You know what Al got? He got the big goose egg.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I swear to God, I got nothing. Got nothing. So, because I'm an owner in the company, so I didn't take anything.
50% of the house?
I didn't get 50%. I should have gotten the whole house because I drew it. But I didn't get it. I didn't take any money. I volunteered my time to the company.
All right, listen, Freya. This is a 100% honest show. Nobody gets any heat from anything they say,
except for the sad trombone on my cheek.
Listen, we have gone through 6 weeks now. No, it's a fifth week, Jeff.
This is 6. Yeah,
we've gone through 6 weeks.
Thank you for paying attention to the show.
Of Al Snow father, Al Snow mentor, Al Snow philosopher, Al Snow, Rocky Balboa. We've painted this. I swear to God, I'm waiting any second for wings to grow out of Al Snow's back. All right, enough with the Al Snow. Now, Freya, be honest with me. Tell me about that dark side. What does Al Snow do that really, really annoys you and bothers you? Tell me, what really grates on you that Saint Al does?
Invite her on the show.
Come on, Freya. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
You know the funniest thing? I don't even think anyone really gets annoyed by Al. I think the thing that everyone always talks about is how difficult Al is to read because he no-sells everything. Have you seen the meme from wrestlers? And it has all the different expressions of Al, and his face is the exact same in all of them. Sometimes there'll be a line outside his office, and someone will walk in, and they're like, I don't know if he actually liked that or hated that. And then they walk away.
He didn't no-sell me. He didn't no-sell me when that calculator was going in his mind. And go ahead, Freya. Finish your thought, please.
Oh, no, that's it, though. Nothing annoying, but Al is very good.
Yeah, what is it with the no-sell?
It's the number one rule in the business.
But hold on, no. Wait a minute, because in this episode, he did cry at that proposal.
I didn't cry.
You cried, bro. You tears, bro, at that proposal.
Hey, that's okay. I was happy for him. What's wrong with me being happy for these guys?
Aaron,
a heel like you keep your whole emotions locked up, and that's why you're aging. You know that? 'Cause
Aaron, what can't you stand about Al? Like, let's uncover the real Al Snow. Like, what grates on you? When you go home, you cut the promo on your mother about Al. What do you tell? What is it that you say?
When I send him to his room, or I take away his allowance.
What do you tell your mother when you've had you had enough of Al? What do you vent to your mother?
She says, "Quiet down. He's upstairs sleeping."
Al,
Oh my God. Wait a minute. Where is the trombone for that one? Oh, but that was totally uncalled for. Aaron, what do you say when you had Al up to here? What do you say?
So Al can be a genius at times. However, yes. He is a stubborn pain in the ass.
Yes. Hold on. Yes. You're a pain in the ass. Stop. My way or the highway. My way or the highway. Yes.
I love Al.
Don't backpedal. Wait, no.
I'm not.
Yes.
I'm not backpedaling. But there are a lot of times where he has a certain way that he wants things done. So it is and some ways are great, some ways are not so great. Al is a pain in the ass, but
yes,
yeah, he is a pain in the ass. He is a pain in the ass. But there is a majority of the time where he is right. But there are times where he's wrong.
No, Al's
I know, right?
Wrong. No,
right.
No, Al,
we all can't bat 1,000. So
all right. Aaron,
to be fair, when you do prove me wrong, what do I say? You got me, okay.
He does, and there were several times during this story where he did say, "You got me."
All right. Hey, listen, Aaron, Gariv Asai.
You got that name right?
Yeah, I think he wants to know. Do you think you look more like Alien or Predator?
How are you going to get that name right? You butcher everybody else.
Nobody knows if it was right or not.
He wants to know, do you think you look more like Alien or Predator?
Alien.
Okay, good answer.
Yeah.
We got another question from my good friend Frank's Pickle Barrel.
Oh.
Al should have got in ring sooner. Maybe he wouldn't have almost killed Tom Jones. Well, that's true. I can't wait. Season 2. You know that's the finale in season 2.
No, it's not a finale.
Matt Jones versus. I can't wait to see Matt Jones's training montage.
Oh my God,
that I can't wait to see.
It's going to be the Rumble '99 Vince montage all over again.
Chasing the chicken. Well, listen, guys, it has been a wild ride. I'm very, very, very happy for you guys, man. I got to tell you, man. I even saw this with Haley the last couple of episodes. Al, I had a pop huge where she had the line of the night, HollyHood, when she says, "Well, I've been at OVW for a year now."
Yeah,
bro, that popped me huge. Popped me huge. But guys, I have to believe this.
Well, you've got to explain that why it popped you. You've got
because bro, a year in the business is literally 5 seconds in the business, and she
not even a cup of coffee.
Yeah, she thinks she's already put a lifetime in a business. But Freya, I got to ask you this. Like, obviously, man, you guys get into the business with aspirations of going to the top. I mean, everybody wants to be the best they possibly can be. But I was even seeing this with Haley of all people, because you wouldn't expect this. It's a different world at the top. It is a different world. And listen, man, I hate to say this, but I've seen it and I witnessed it. Bro, unless you're making, big money for the company you're working with, like you're a name on the roster and they'll just go through you to the next name, to the next name, to the next name. That's how it is, bro. Professional wrestlers are very much like cattle. They get hurt, they get put out. I've seen it a million times. And I was even seeing this with Haley, and this was amazing to me. I'm getting, there is a real home vibe to OVW and working for Al and working for Doug. And we've seen that locker room, and it really feels like everybody is so comfortable and so happy in that environment. Do you sometimes struggle with that? Because, if you achieve what you want to achieve and you go to that next level, that family atmosphere, that environment, knowing Al and guys like Doug, like literally care about you as a human being, that aspect of it is gone. Do you ever think about that? Because I guess what I'm saying is, do you really know what you have under Al and with this company and with the wrestler deal, and really understand that as you climb that ladder, there is going to be less and less and less of this?
We definitely know that. And I think, I don't know if Al knows this, but we, like small groups of us, will have this conversation a lot where it's like, of course, we got into wrestling because we love wrestling, but also because we want it to be our career and livelihood, and we talk all the time. We hope through this show that we can stay at OVW because we like it so much. Like, of course you have these aspirations of going to the top, but I mean, half of that's because, of the history, right, in all these other companies, but also you have to be able to pay your bills, And so we have that side conversation regularly. Like, man, if we could just stay here, but have it be more financially sustainable, it would be the best of both worlds, because we do feel so blessed to be at OVW.
Well, according to Matt Jones, you're not paying your bills because Al's making all the money. Right? Thank you very much.
I want to follow that up because.
Go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead.
Yeah, because we saw in this episode, Freya, that you can be a presence on camera with your acting, not just wrestling. So that comes across well. Is that something you have a passion for? Because we see a lot of wrestlers. Al's got a movie coming out soon. They make the transition. They use their wrestling talents to get into TV and movies. You even said on the show how you're 6 feet tall. That's a gift that most people, don't have, in your career on the female side. So that's something, a gift you're given. It pops on camera. You got good acting skills. A lot of people are watching this show in the entertainment industry. So is that something you're interested in getting into?
I wouldn't have thought that it would be something I would like, but honestly, through doing all of these vignettes with Al and Aaron, those were all so much fun. And I really like Aaron is being himself. I like not being myself. Like, okay, I'm just going to go be so ridiculous, because I don't really get very embarrassed when I'm acting absurd like that. And so I thought that was just so fun to okay, let me go be completely different than I would normally act in real life. And so, yes, now I would enjoy to do that, I think.
And Aaron, maybe with you, if wrestling doesn't work out, maybe there's a career in fashion. That's always on the. What are you laughing at, Al?
Can you please make a line of Lilo and Stitch hoodies?
Oh my God.
Wait, what's this now? What's this Lilo and Stitch hoodies?
So
this is what you wear out in public. Lilo and Stitch.
Freya's point, right?
Yes.
We're filming the bowling alley date. This is where Freya now is trying to get back into Aaron's good graces. And, now she's going to take him to do something he likes to do. And he was standing in the parking lot and he was wearing a Lilo and Stitch hoodie. And I go, Aaron, you really wear a Lilo and Stitch hoodie to a date? He goes, well, my mom got it for me for Christmas last year. And I'm like, oh, we are using that.
Do you ever think, Aaron, maybe this is why you live alone? Could this have anything to do with it?
I mean, it's one of many reasons. I always tell people I'm happily single. Not that anyone is beating down my door, but I am happily single. But one of the things that I really enjoyed about the whole story was, Freya could be outlandish. I could be outlandish. We could be as over the top as we wanted. And it worked for the story. And one of the things that I'm really proud of is it's hard in this day and age to get people to buy in to the story.
Oh yeah.
People believed that our wedding was real. I actually got a phone call from my mother, who got a call from my aunt, who was very upset that she did not get an invitation to my wedding.
That is tremendous.
Because Freya, to her credit, created a website on thenot.com with a wedding registry, with engagement photos, and it was fantastic. And people literally would message me and be like, "Oh my God, I didn't even know you had a girlfriend. I didn't know you're getting married."
Well, let's be honest. We are talking about people in the Louisville area.
Well,
but
no.
anyway,
So to go off of that real quick, we are still getting letters. This is
there money? Are they sending money?
We got a bride and groom card just recently. This was like last week.
Really?
With a gift card to Starbucks in it.
Look at that. Very nice.
Congratulating us on our nuptials.
Very nice.
And this is from someone I did a podcast. I did a podcast with them in Seattle 5 years ago.
That is tremendous.
So it's not just the people in Louisville. I had friends and family from all over. Like, oh my gosh, wow, you wrestling. Who knew you'd get married because of it? You know?
I know. On the wedding night, we got a card, and it had a pass for each of us to Kentucky Kingdom.
That is tremendous, man. That is great.
Yeah, it was great. It's just insane. It's insane to me. I never thought that any of this would be remotely possible. There were people, friends of mine, who drove 4 to 5 hours to that show to see the wedding. And to be able to stand in that ring, and before there was a three segment wedding, we got a "This is awesome" chant during the first segment, and that was just amazing. That is
amazing. That is amazing.
I don't know how I don't know how I would ever top that. It is just such.
Aaron sang a song for Freya.
Oh my gosh!
And to Al's credit, of all the things I've done in wrestling, more people have watched this and talked to me about it than anything else I've ever done. And not just fans, like other workers who did not watch our show were watching to watch the segments of Aaron and I, like tuning in every week to see what Aaron and I did every week, and would message me to say they were following along on the story. These are people who had never watched me wrestle. Like, they're your coworkers. They don't care what you're doing, but they were watching OVW to see what absurd thing Al was going to have us do each week.
I would go out in public in Louisville. I would go shopping, and I would have people stop me in the mall and be like, "Hey, where's Freya?" I'd be like, "Oh, she's at home. She's relaxing. I'm just out doing some shopping." Like it was insane. Like how much people
Louisville.
Like how much people bought into this. It was crazy.
That's tremendous. Al, this Frank's Pickle Barrel. Al, could we not, as a rib, get Matt Jones to start doing scrums after the show? Could you not make that happen as a rib?
No, because that's going to rib me, and I'm not.
That would be absolutely tremendous.
No, we're not going to do
that. Damn it! All right, listen, you guys. Aaron, you've been great, bro. Freya, you've been great. Freya, you go first. Give them all your social media, where they could find you. If you got a place where you can get booked, give them all that information.
All right, so you can find me Freya.the.Slaya, and that's Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. You can find me on Cameo. I also have a website, so anywhere that you search that at, you can find me. So please follow. Please message me if you liked the show or if you liked the angle. I would love to hear more feedback from everyone.
All right, Aaron, what about you, my friend?
Well, when I'm not at Al's mom's house, you can find me.
Hold on, wait a minute. Say that again. Okay. Say that one more time.
When I'm not at Al's mom's house.
You are completely offside, man.
All right, go ahead, Aaron.
Okay, I am on Twitter.
Flag on the play.
I am on Twitter at Grider Groove. Instagram at Grider Groove, and then Aaron Grider on Facebook.
And do you give fashion tips on there where you could find the latest in clothing? Is that part of it?
Well, I try to keep the fashion to myself. You know, I
Very
don't want to
nice.
really share that with anybody. I mean,
Right. Now listen, if Aaron, if you or Freya, listen, if you got to go to the toilet, the next portion of this show is going to be about 30 minutes long because Al's going to give his plugs now. So if you guys got to go to the bathroom or anything during this, please feel free to leave because Al's got 70,000 revenue streams, including whatever he got for that match, which he's not selling. But Al, go ahead, Al. Where can they reach you, Al? OVW Wrestling, the only accredited school.
Yep. You can watch OVW live every Thursday night on Fight TV, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. We're also in about 100 million homes from Canada all the way down to Puerto Rico, Guam, Virgin Islands, Bahamas, and on a variety of different national networks. If you want to find out more information about OVW, you can go to ovwrestling.com. If you have lost all of your senses and decided, hey, I think this would be a great career for me too. Well, you're in luck because we're the only accredited by the State Office of Proprietary Education as a trade school for professional wrestling, sports entertainment, and broadcasting in the entire world. It is OVW Academy. You can go to ovwacademy.com. We're constantly on a weekly basis. Jeff and I scour the internet to learn more work rates so that we can update the syllabuses. We're really, I've found that the cinder block work rate has really been very popular, along with, setting yourself in different parts of your body ablaze and then throwing yourself at another human being. If you are wanting to follow me on social media, you can follow me at Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, at The Real Al Snow. Why The Real Al Snow? Because there have been some fakes, and if you do fake me, I'm just going to message you and go aim the bar higher. So if you want to see my stand-up, you can go to Premier Streaming Network. I have a comedy special there with my partner, David Vox-Mullen from Chicago's Zanies. If you want to see it live this Saturday night in Lima, Ohio, October 28th, I will be at the Veterans Memorial Civic Center doing my stand-up comedy show. And yes, my mother, Erin State, will be there in the audience. This is going to be incredibly awkward. About like as awkward as that time Aaron came home and caught me with his mom the first time. If you are interested in my comic books, you can go to brokeniconcomics.com and check out all of those where I team up with Chavo Guerrero, Tommy Dreamer, Scotty Tuhati, and other wrestling superstars. If you are interested in me, which would be surprising, then go to Amazon.com. You can pick up my biography, self-help, life lessons from the bizarre wrestling career of Al Snow. If you want to cameo, the real Al Snow.
See, Aaron, you thought I was kidding. See, yeah, exactly. You could literally cook a steak by the time Al's done with his plug.
I'm sure your viewership has gone down because people probably thought it was an Al Snow match and they went to the bathroom.
Anyway.
Everybody up! Everybody up!
Flag on the play.
Go ahead, Al. Go ahead. This is riveting. Go ahead.
I call foul.
Go ahead.
That was a major foul tip right off. Okay. Where was I? Oh, collarandelbowbrand.com. You can wear the same clothing. I don't have the taste like Aaron Grider obviously does that Vince is now going to emulate. You should see him normally on a Thursday morning there, and he shows up in just a tank top, and his body looks like a coloring book.
Who's that, me?
Yeah, you.
How dare you? How dare you? Hey, Al, tell people listening to this show, what's the best way for them to, let Netflix know we need a season 2? What's the best way?
Hashtag Wrestlers Netflix, please. Sincerely, I do genuinely appreciate everyone's support. And we just need to continue to keep spreading the word as much as possible. We're still keeping fingers, toes, and testicles crossed that, we'll be able to get a season 2. But I mean, if we do, it'd be fantastic. If it doesn't, it's still fantastic because this this has been such a wonderful and amazing project to be involved with, and and now it's out there for the world, and it'll be there forever. It'll never go away. So.
Well, Freya, good luck, man. Great show. Kudos to you. Aaron, kudos to you.
I'm at the American Film Market this week. American Film Market, Unnatural is being released. So check that out.
All about Al. All about Freya, Aaron, thank you guys. You guys are phenomenal, man. We need a season 2, man. It has to happen. And good luck, you guys, with everything going forward. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. And guys, you can catch me, Jeff, and Al every Thursday. Lions Tigers, and we got a lot of footage this week, Jeff, because we're almost doubling up.
Friday, we recorded Thursday. It airs Friday.
Yeah, we're almost doubling up from last week, right?
Yeah. We didn't show anything last week, Jeff.
Yeah. We show Al most that Al finds himself of these insane wrestling videos with the cinder block work and the firework and everything he was talking about. And we go through those every week.
Yeah, all that is at russosbrand.com. Thanks for joining us, guys. Next week, right here, bro. Finally, Matt Jones, Worlds Collide. I am going to stir this like buttercream, Boston cream.
You might as well just go ahead and get a boat oar. You might as well get a boat oar the way you're going to stir up.
Oh, I can't wait. Next week, the finale, bro, the showdown. And I'm going to find out how much Matt had to dig deep in those pockets to get Al Snow in the ring. Right here next week. Yeah, all right. Next week. We'll see you then.
See you guys.
All right, guys.